The meaning to consumers of product and service features has been described in terms of concentric rings, where the innermost bullseye refers to those product attributes that are central to the basic function of the product. In this sense, they are considered musts, or attributes that must be provided. Musts can dissatisfy only as their presence is expected as normal by the consumer. In their absence, the product cannot perform its basic function. The next adjacent ring contains embellishments to the basic product referred to as satisfiers. These features are satisfying in the sense that high levels of these attributes have the potential to further satisfaction beyond that provided by the basic function of the product. At the next outer level are delights, or product features that are unexpected and surprisingly enjoyable. Consumers would not ordinarily expect to find these features in the product category and are delighted with their provision. Oliver uses the example of a gas station to portray these three feature levels. The availability of gasoline is a must, clean restrooms are satisfiers, whereas a concession area might be a delight. This analysis has been independently conceptualized by Kano. In his original work, Kano viewed musts in the same way, namely product features that must be present, delivering must-be quality. At still another level, features were described that can both satisfy and dissatisfy depending on whether a particular feature is dysfunctional or highly functional. Kano referred to these features as one-dimensional. At still a third level, he coined the phrase attractive quality for features that can satisfy only when present but have no capacity to dissatisfy when absent. Popular press quality authors now refer to this category as delighters. In a conceptually similar analysis, Oliver referred to these three attribute categories as monovalent dissatisfiers, bivalent satisfiers, and monovalent satisfiers. In all of these cases, the implications for delight are the same. Features with the capacity to delight are those that are unexpectedly or surprisingly pleasant or add utility to the product beyond that which is expected. Popular author Gross, for example, has coined the term positively outrageous service for this type of delighting service, which he refers to as unexpected, random, extraordinary, and disproportionately positive. Thus, delight can be viewed as existing on a continuum whereby it can be encoded permanently as a raised expectation.
When I walked into Olympia Sports, they immediately greeted me. After I was looking at the shoes and I couldn't find one that I liked, so the guy brought out every pair in my size, 6.5, and then I told him I had high arches, which hurt when I ran, so he helped me find an arch support, and then he waterproofed the shoes for me because I like to run outside.
Where it can be selectively retrieved as a remembrance.
I was delighted when I went to Blue Monk in Buffalo. It's a bar and restaurant, and I was kind of expecting some decent food and whatever, but our server was great. He kind of gave us a rundown of the whole menu, told us what his favorites were, what worked best, but then also went through just about every beer on tap and told me a little bit about it, a little bit of the history behind each one, and what foods it did and didn't work for. So I thought he certainly knew a lot more than I expected him to know, and was more than willing to share his experience with us.
Or where it can be forgotten entirely.
One time I went into GNC Nutrition, and I was the only customer in the store. And as I was walking around, the manager came up to me and asked if I had any questions, and showed me all of the new products they had, as well as all of the new products that they were bringing into their inventory, and gave me some free samples as I was leaving the store.
As you can see, different customers hold different expectations, which ultimately lead to different levels of satisfaction. As framed within the expectancy disconfirmation model of consumer satisfaction, purchase and usage reveal actual performance levels which are thought to be compared to expectation levels using a better than, worse than heuristic. The resulting judgment is labeled negative disconfirmation if the product is worse than expected, positive disconfirmation if better than expected, and simple confirmation if as expected. Substantial evidence for this process now exists in the customer delight, customer satisfaction literature. Oliver has elaborated the specific categories of events that give rise to the three disconfirmation conditions noted above. These are positive disconfirmation, which is low probability desirable events occur or high probability undesirable events do not. Negative disconfirmation, low probability undesirable events occur or high probability desirable events do not. And confirmation, in which low and high probability desirable and undesirable events occur or do not as expected. From this perspective, it would appear that conditions necessary for either positive or negative disconfirmation involve the surprising occurrence of low probability events or the non-occurrence of high probability events, as coupled with the desirability or valence of these events. Further perspective on this phenomenon is provided by Woodruff, Cadotte, and Jenkins, who posit a range of experience-based norms. The norms described by these authors are historical, representing the range of likely performance outcomes experienced over time or learned via the experience of others. Performance deviations within this normal range are not considered to be disconforming or would be those outside this region. Oliver adds to the Woodruff discussion a consideration of performance outside the consumer's norm-based experience and suggests 3 categories of disconfirming events. These are performance in a confirmation region where performance deviations are considered normal, a range of disconfirming performance that is plausible but infrequent so that the performance deviation is noted as unusual, and more discrepant performance levels which are highly unlikely based on experience, levels that are in some way unexpected or surprising. These later performance levels are described by Oliver as evoking surprise disconfirmation. Thus, it is suggested that disconfirmation can vary as a matter of degree on an unexpectedness dimension, so that increasing levels of unexpectedness are required to evoke first disconfirmation and later a surprise disconfirmation perception. Based on this analysis, it is suggested that the arousal potential of a performance discrepancy is a function of the consumer's acceptance range and the unexpectedness of the product outcome. Some researchers have conceptualized satisfaction itself as an emotional response to the judgmental disparity between product performance and a corresponding normative standard. However, Oliver subsumes the emotional response within the disconfirmation paradigm by positing that specific categories of emotion may coexist with the satisfaction judgment. Depending on the specific combinations of the variables in Oliver's model, 5 different satisfaction responses are posited. Of these, contentment, pleasure, and surprise relate to the present discussion as they are qualitatively different states of satisfaction with different emotional markers. Disconfirmation paradigm literature suggests the importance of high positive disconfirmation in creating the surprise environment necessary to achieve high levels of arousal. The second suggests the concomitant importance of joy and surprise in reports of delight, and the third suggests the necessity of pleasant surprise. As seen by the model, delight is a function of surprising consumption, arousal, and positive affect as suggested by the 3 literatures reviewed. Arousal is a function of surprising levels of consumption. As noted, the function of surprise is to orient the individual to attend to environmental stimuli and has been referred to in this regard as a pre-emotion. This level of heightened activation should focus the consumer on the evoking stimulus, namely the surprising positive consumption outcome. The linkage between arousal and positive affect relies on the affect labeling sequence originally proposed by Shanter and Singer. They demonstrated that arousal produced in the absence of environmental cues is given effective labeling consistent with the effectivity in the environment. In the present case, arousal is evidenced in the context of consumption. Those individuals experiencing the greatest surprise, and hence arousal, will have elevated levels of affect, either positive or negative, depending on the nature of the consumption experience. As we model positive affect and surprisingly positive consumption, we expect a significant arousal positive affect linkage. Such an effect has been empirically demonstrated in Mano and Oliver. They find that generalized arousal produces heightened levels of both extremes of affect, particularly positive affect. Also shown in the model is a direct path linking delight with intention. If, as we have posited, delight is a positively valent state reflecting high levels of consumption-based affect, would it not be the case that the experience of delight would create a desire for future reoccurrences of the sensation? This argument is fundamental to the nature of hedonic consumption, wherein consumables generating emotional arousal, such as joy and rapture, are included. Hirschman and Holbrook liken the repursuit of such emotions to sensation seeking, whereby consumption is repeated for the subtle variations in the variety and intensity of positive affect such consumption generates. Thus, we hypothesize that delight creates a desire for further pleasurable service performance in the future. This linkage ends the delight sequence of the model. The satisfaction sequence is shown in the lower half of the model. Here, the traditional disconfirmation of expectations variable is shown as an exogenous initiator of satisfaction. Note that it is portrayed as correlated with surprising levels of consumption, also as extraneous variable. Disconfirmation is shown as influencing both satisfaction and positive affect. The first linkage is supported from a large number of findings cited earlier, linking the positivity of disconfirmation with satisfaction. The second derives from the Westbrook and Oliver studies, where the highest levels of positive affect were found in those consumer clusters having the highest levels of positive disconfirmation and affect. The concurrent affect relation has now been demonstrated in a number of studies. Lastly, intention is shown as a consequent of satisfaction. All studies cited previously which have tested intention in the context of a satisfaction model have found it to be significantly predicted by satisfaction. Now let's take a look at a situation in which expectations have been exceeded, as well as one with poor performance.
Rich, how you doing? Don, you know, could be better.
Should cheer you up, big guy.
Don, you know me too well. You do know if Martha knew that I smoking these, she'd kill me.
Anything to delay my customers. The usual?
Of course, Don. How you doing, bartender?
So how are the wife and kids doing?
Martha's treating me better than I deserve, and those kids, well, let me just time flies. Look at them, just getting so big.
8 cute
Oh,
kids.
God. Olivia, just a doll.
Wow, adorable.
It's too cute.
Yeah, my buddy's growing up too, man.
I haven't seen that pup in ages.
Ages? Oh man, look at this. This is Christmas.
Oh my God, look at those antlers.
It's a great looking dog, man. Fetch is unbelievable.
10 years down, 10 years I've been coming here. Customer service, impeccable.
You know what? I appreciate it, man. I appreciate every moment I spend with you.
Every time I come here, you've got my drink waiting, you've got some stories to tell. God, it just puts me in a better mood.
Hey, here's to Canada.
To Canada. Hey there, Don. Hey, you. Got to text my order to you? I'm over here. Right here, man. Right here. Oh, you coming over? What do you want? Yeah, can you get like a gin and tonic or something?
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
I gotta wait till they're done.
You know what? Here you go.
You serious, man? Dude, what about the gin and tea? You're Don. Still gonna wait on that? Yeah, it was just, you don't, okay, yeah, I'll just drink this half-drink beer, man. No, it's cool, seriously. Great customer service, bro. Thanks.
Dude, I'm trying to work here.
Good, thanks, man. Great.
In summary, delight cannot be achieved without surprisingly positive levels of performance, which, as noted previously, require additional effort on the part of the firm or its agents. Our group feels that Alan McNabb shares the same opinions as to why customer delight, not customer satisfaction, should be a top customer service performance metric.
I think that we have to basically move beyond just satisfaction. Okay, satisfied customers don't necessarily renew their contracts. Okay, lots of research will substantiate that. Delight, to me, is something that, quite honestly, is a virtuous circle between a service performer or a service technician, right, and a customer. It basically creates a virtuous circle. And quite honestly, we also get used to a certain level, right, of an experience, and we want to push, right? We want to continuously try to stretch beyond that.
You know what, Rich? Here's to Canada.
To Canada.
To Canada!